Hi everybody, this video is called My Favorite Chrome Extensions as an accountant and a QuickBooks Power user. I'm going to show you a couple of little things that you can add to your browser. Most of them are free and some of them are very inexpensive. That will really boost your productivity, especially when doing accounting type of work. Now I will try to do most of the examples in QuickBooks and so you can kind of see how these Chrome extensions interact with QuickBooks, but most of these Chrome extensions are not connected to QuickBooks with the exception of one specifically. Everything else just works around any website that you might work on. And I'm going to answer a couple questions first before we get started. So do you have to have Google Chrome as your browser for this to work? Technically no, but you do need to have a Chromium-based browser for this to work, such as Microsoft Edge, Brave, Opera, Arc. There's more. Just search Chromium-based browser in Google and you'll see tons of options, but it needs to be based on the Google Chrome architecture. Now, most people use Google Chrome, but it could be any of these. Will it work in Firefox or Safari? The answer is no, because those are actually not Chromium-based browsers. And will this work in my Chrome browser in my iPad or tablet? For sure it will not work in an iPad, and I've seen it work in some of the tablets, but I'm going to say tablets are tentative, iPads, no for sure. Okay, let's get on with it. So I'm going to talk about 10 Chrome extensions, and I'm actually going to demo each one. One is called Click to Remove Element. The other one is called Loom. The third one is called Dark Mode. Fourth one is Tab Resize. Fifth is Auto Group Tabs. Sixth is Vimium. Seventh is Text Blaze. Eighth is Clipboard Tool. 9 is PrintFriendly. And 10th, the best, most important of all the Chrome extensions for a QuickBooks user like myself, RightTool. So I'll demo that at the end. You could also fast forward using the timestamps in the description. You can fast forward to any other specific tools that I'm about to demo. Let me start with Click to Remove Element. So I'm going to be using all the examples inside QuickBooks because that's really where it probably is going to make most sense, because most of my content in my YouTube channel, it's about QuickBooks. And by the way, if you stumbled upon this video sort of accidentally and you didn't know that my channel was all about QuickBooks, then subscribe and you'll see I create a lot of QuickBooks content. So I'm going to give you an example. Sometimes I'll be in a page inside QuickBooks and there will be an element in there that drives me flipping nuts. And in some cases, there will be an option to get rid of it. Like QuickBooks does give me access, but my experience with QuickBooks, there's a lot of little pop-ups and elements that doesn't matter how many times I click on it, they just don't freaking go away. So what I do is I just nuke it completely. And you see that the little icon is a little nuke icon. So when you click on the nuke icon, you see this little box pop up in the right, kind of monitoring what you do. And notice that as I move my mouse around, the area turns pink. And basically and I'm not clicking anything, I'm just moving it around. And basically anything that I put my mouse on, that where the area is the one I want to get rid of, I just put my mouse on. Like for example, this seems like the right place to put it because a whole element goes away, and I just click once on that and that element gets deleted. I gotta be careful not to click on anything else, because if I click on something by mistake, my whole screen goes away. Now the cool thing is you can hit Control Z or Command Z and it undoes and you go back. Now, once you remove the element, it gives you the element name, marketing, IPD, TSA widgets. So figures, anything with the word marketing, I probably want to get rid of completely. So that just is just removing it for the moment. If I put my mouse over the little eye icon, it shows it to me briefly. So to kind of show me, okay, that's what I get rid of. And then if I don't ever want that thing to ever come up again, I just click on remember, and that little remember checkbox, I can now X out of that. And it doesn't matter if I leave and then come back, that element went away 100% forever. Again, I would have to click on the little Chrome icon up here to bring it back and then inspect it to see if there was anything interesting in there. So there's always a problem. It's a huge warning I'll give you. You're deleting elements from the software. You might have lesser than ideal results because you don't know what QuickBooks might replace in that element. But I often find myself just getting rid of the crap I don't need on the screen and then sort of gaining real estate back. Another example is, for example, I'm just gonna X out of that. I'm gonna go into the bank transaction screen. This is a screen that I want as much real estate as possible because QuickBooks pretty much wasted 20% of the space in this big white header bar, and there really isn't that many options to hide. Yeah, I can hide the account card here, so I can hide it a little. I can hide a little bit of it, but again, I want as much space as possible. So I'm gonna nuke this line here that says bank transactions. See that pink area? I'm gonna nuke that, and then remember, and then it's a beautiful thing. So now I go into my chart of accounts, and then I go back into bank transactions, and I just gained 10% of the screen. So imagine gaining 5%, 10% of every screen that annoys you, your productivity. I mean, just this one thing will just boost your productivity. So hopefully, again, use it responsibly. Be careful because you might delete elements that you need. But it's once you're a real power user, you will find yourself really loving that element. Okay, the next one's gonna be Loom. Now, I do a lot of demos showing people how to do things. And Loom is amazing, right? So Loom is this little thing that shows up here. And by the way, you may be wondering, Hector, how do you get all those icons up there? Or how do you install those extensions? So I'm gonna show you really quick. I'm just gonna remove the Loom extension here for a second. I'll remove it 100%. And again, I'm gonna put links to all of this. But if I go to Web Chrome Store, I go to the Web Chrome Store or the Chrome Web Store, and I can search any of these extensions. So this one's called Loom. And there's my Loom extension. So I click on that, and then I click on Add to Chrome. So that's how you install it. Now, if you don't see it show up immediately in your sort of icon bar up here of extensions, you will click on this little puzzle icon, click on that, and then you're gonna pin it. So when you pin them, so you put a little pin on it, they show up. So if I remove the pin, it doesn't show, and put it back on. So kind of notice this part where the little printer icon is. You're gonna see that Loom icon show up. So I'm gonna pin it, and boom, there it shows. So usually what I do is I download them and then I pin the ones that I want to use. Now, Loom specifically requires you to create an account. They have a free version and they have a paid version. You can use your Gmail or your Google email to create an account. I actually have a paid version of the account, but you can use the free version in many instances. So for example, I'm in QuickBooks and I want to make a quick demo showing people how to pull a balance sheet, for example. So I click on the Loom icon here, and it basically gives me the control mechanism. So do I want to use my webcam or not? Which microphone I want to use. So I click here, allow, and then I get to choose, do I want full screen? Do I want a window or current tab or whatever, right? So you get tons of control on what you can do. And then I'm going to click on start recording. Hey, Mike, just following up on the last conversation we had, pulling up a balance sheet in QuickBooks is super easy. So what you do is you click there on reports, and then you can search for the report, but just type balance sheet and it will show up in there. But you don't have to search it. You can actually find it somewhere here on the page. Like I happen to have it in my favorites, but if it's not in your favorites, just kind of do like a Control F on your keyboard, type balance sheet or something like that. And then once you find it, there it is. You go ahead and click on the little star, and then it becomes a favorite. Then you just click on balance sheet, and boom, you're in your balance sheet. And as I mentioned, always pull up last month or last year because we're probably still working on your books for this month. So that's it. Hope you like the video. Let me know if you have any feedback from me. Then I press on stop, and that's it. I created a video super quickly because Loom is a cloud-based application. The video itself, it's hosted. There is a summary, right? Basically of what I said. And if you have the paid edition, there's all sorts of things. You can remove silencers, filler words. You can create full transcripts. But the free edition allows you to create a 5-minute video that you can just share via email or copy the link, and you can give it to someone, and then that's it. You share the video, a tutorial, super quickly. I mean, again, try the free version, but I use the paid edition because I create a lot of videos. Loom will blow your mind. It's an absolutely amazing application for creating little videos. So that's Loom. The next one I want to show you is called Dark Mode. Now, this is a kind of a niche one. So what dark mode does, and I'm just going to show you here, it's this little icon here. So what that one does is it makes a web page, it switches it as if it was designed for dark mode. This is not perfect in any stretches of imagination. You know, like QuickBooks should build their own dark mode. That's another whole nother topic of conversation. But if you click that, it turns the screen black. Now, again, it's not gonna be perfect, right? Because it doesn't know what to do with some shades of gray and that sort of thing. Let's go into like the banking screen that I spent a lot of time in. And you know, it works for the most part. I mean, like, especially for people that complain that they're staring at a white screen for hours and hours, their eyes get kind of tired, and it's just one click away. You kind of switch back and forth. Now, it does have some settings. Like if you right click and go to options, has some settings, and it has a whole bunch of different settings. I don't know if any of those settings enhance QuickBooks. I usually just use the default one. So you could try different settings, you know, as you go in there, and then try dark mode, and you know, sometimes it'll get a little better. Again, for the most part, sometimes I just want to rest my eyes from white a little bit, put it on dark mode for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then I switch back to white. I just like it. Quick switch, quick, easy app. There's a free version for it. I don't know if there's a paid version. I just use the free one. The next one is called Tab Resize. Tab Resize is really, really cool. Particularly useful when you have like multiple tabs open. So for example, let's say I'm on the reports and I want to sort of review a couple of reports next to each other. So I'm going to pull up a profit and loss, but I also want to have, let's say, a balance sheet, right? So instead of like splitting off the tabs and resizing each of the windows, I want sort of a one-click mechanism to see the two reports and then kind of like put my screen back together. So right now I have one tab with the P&L, one tab with the balance sheet. Again, I would have to click it off and change the size. It's a pain on the butt. It's a lot of unnecessary clicking. So when you click on Tab Resize, which is up here, you can do a quick split, right? So it kind of gives you the options here to do your splits, right? So I'm just gonna get rid of this, the presentation for a second. So let's say I only have QuickBooks tabs open here, right? So I'm gonna click here, and then I can go to 1 times 2, and boom, it cuts it in half for me. And there's different options here. So let's go back to 1. And let's say, for example, I want to have single tab, or I want to have empty tab. Like there's all sorts of different options to do it. So if I do the empty tab, it basically pre-cuts it for me, and I can just click and drag to this side fairly easy, and then bring it back. That way I don't have to mess with the resizing too much, right? So I just like it because I can do tons of things. I can split in whichever way I want, and it's one click away. It makes it very easy for me to do that. And I can also work with multiple monitors, send something to monitor A and send something to monitor B. And there's a whole bunch of little options here. They're pretty awesome. Give it a shot. The next one's called Auto Group Tabs. Okay, this is particularly interesting for when you have a lot of tabs open of multiple things. So for example, let's say I have several tabs open with Google Drive related documents, right? So I'm going to open up, let's say, multiple presentations here. So I got one presentation here, one presentation here. I got 2 tabs here for QuickBooks. Sometimes they'll be like mixed, where I have like one QuickBooks tab, and then I have one, tab of this thing, and then another QuickBooks tab, and then a tab of something else, and then maybe I have, like CNN on one, and then I'll have, whatever, MSNBC on the other one, and I'll have Fox News on the other one, whatever. So I just have all sorts of like tabs open, different things that I'm doing. And basically all these tabs start becoming a little bit messy. So Chrome and all the Chromium browsers have this concept of grouping tabs together. But it's a manual process. So I have to have to put them together. I have to shift click, select them together, right click, and then click on add tabs to a new group, and then call this group QBO or something like that. Make it green, press enter, and that's it. So now I have my QBO tab. Easy, I can click on QBO, expand and collapse. I can do the same thing with my 2 Google Slides. I can right click, add new group, and we're gonna call this slides, and I can make these yellow, okay? And then I can grab all of these here and group these and call this news, okay? And we'll leave this red, for example, okay? So that can be done, and I can click on any of these headers. So I click QBO, slides, and news, and just clean up all of my tabs, and then I can just expand any one that I like and expand. It's a beautiful feature. This is actually built into Chrome. So actually you don't need an extension for that. But what happens when, I'm just gonna close the group here. So what happens when you didn't create the group, or you close the browser and come back, those groups go away. So essentially what I want is, I want to be able to, for these groups to persist even after I close my browser session and come back. So let me just get rid of these here and go to remove from group, and then we'll delete the group. Okay. So essentially, there are ways to automate that process, and the way to automate the process is using this tool called Auto Group Tabs. So essentially what you do is you click on Auto Group Tabs, you click on this domain and subdomains, and then you click on Save New Patterns, and then make this into a group called, let's say, QBO. And then I'll click on Save. Okay, so that's already saved. So now it's permanent. So every single time I go into a screen in QuickBooks and open a new tab, whatever it is, it's part of the group. It's all pre-grouped for me. So I don't have to go in there and bundle the group again. So every single thing that has the QuickBooks domain name on it will be part of that group. Same thing with, let's say, my news. Okay, so I go in there into my auto tab, and then I go to this domain and subdomains, and I'll create a new group here called news. Okay, then I click OK, and then I go into Save Pattern. Then I go into the Fox News, and I click here, and then I click on this domain name, Save Pattern. I go to here, and I click on subdomain, and click on News Group, Save Pattern. So as long as I keep adding these websites and put them into that grouping, again, I can get out of the browser. I can close all these things up. Okay, and then I'm opening the browser for the first time. And I log in, it automatically creates a group for me. And it doesn't matter how many tabs I create. So I can create a new tab, and do this one, create a new tab, and come here and create a new tab. It auto-organizes everything for me into that new tabbing system. And if I go to CNN, it puts it into news group. And if I go into MSNBC, forgot if I had added that one in there, it puts it into that group. If I put Washington Post, okay, that one's not part of the group because I haven't added it, so it doesn't know it. It's not like smart like that. So I just have to go into Auto tab, and then click on News Group, New Pattern, and now it knows. So after a while, every time you visit any sort of website, your Gmail accounts, your slides, your QuickBooks, or whatever, everything groups super cleanly, and it just is super awesome. And you can move them all together. You can even remove them from the entire tab experience as a whole window, and you can bring them back in here. So I want to extract them out. See that? So all three that are grouped together, they separate themselves from the whole tag group. So it's just super awesome. Just being able to do that is just super cool. And again, super organized. I can just click on that, and it groups them together. So again, this is really for like sort of power users that are going back and forth from different types of websites and have a lot of tabs open and just want to like sort of clean things up temporarily. Next one here is called Vimium. Now this is one of the most interesting ones. So Vimium is sitting here, and essentially once you install Vimium, the F hotkey, like your keyboard, when you press F, if you're like in a text box and you press F, it just types an F. Okay, that's fine. But if I'm not in a text box, if the cursor is not in a text and I press F, what happens is the entire screen becomes mapped. And basically, I can use my keyboard to access anything in the screen. So if I wanted to access this reconcile area without moving the mouse up there, I would just press F, and then I would read PC, and boom, that opens a reconcile page. So let's say, for example, I wanted to go into the report section. So I press F, and the report section is another F. It just happens to be, it's another F, right? So then I press F, and it goes into the report section. And then I can press F again, and then let's say I want to open up the audit log right here, which is AL. So I type AL, and boom, it gets me there. So for those people that love keyboard shortcuts, this is going to be super cool. Just pressing F and just knowing that everywhere in my screen, there is a potential keyboard shortcut just by hitting a bunch of combinations of keys. Super cool and intriguing. The next one is called Text Blaze. This is super cool. It has a lot more things than what I'm about to show, but I want to show you the text shortening that I do. So I'm going to open up a Text Blaze here, and that opens up it's just up here on the right. It opens up the little dashboard. If I go into dashboard, it opens up this page, which is where I configure all of the different things. So for example, I have this one called Hector signature for an adjustment. So essentially, I told it, type adjusted by Hector Garcia on today's date at this time for monthly adjustments just by typing /HG. So for example, let's say I'm doing a journal entry, and I do tons of journal entries all the time. And then after I do my journal entry, whatever journal entry might be, right, whatever adjustment I'm doing, I usually add a note. That note takes me a long time to type. So I just type /HG, boom, it retypes everything for me, including dynamic fields like dates and time. Okay, same thing here, HG, boom, it does it for me. So any combination of text that you want to add, you can create it here, anything you want. And particularly for adding notes and stuff like that, instead of me going copying and pasting from some crazy place every single time I want to do that, I just do my shortcuts. And there wouldn't be any other case in which I would need to type /HG. Of course, I have to be careful. So I just clear it out for you, just kept this one example, but the possibilities are kind of endless. It's actually really amazing. And it does a lot of stuff. The paid edition, the pro edition has all sorts of macros. I actually don't use any of the macros. I literally just use this type of auto text in there. And there's a lot of cool dynamic text items. So when you go dynamic text, you can have all sorts of different dates formatting. It's pretty cool. So for example, I want to do long month, so I'm going to select August. But then I can do modifiers. So instead of doing, today I can do minus. So you do negative 30 days, which basically shifts a whole month. And then I add it here for the month of, and then this variable. So then when I go back into my journal entry, I put there, and boom, it says for the month of July. So it literally grabs 30 days before and grabs that month from that. So if you're often typing in the previous month or the current month or a month in the future or the current year, whatever it is, you create all these sorts of versions, right? So you can do HG last or HG current, right? HG year or whatever, and then you can add all sorts of different versions of that. So it's absolutely amazing once you start using these text expanders. They're really, and there's all sorts of different text expanders. I particularly like this Text Blaze, is really cool. The next one here is called Clipboard Tool. So it's similar in the similar theme here. So a Clipboard Tool, what it does is it allows me to keep a record of every single time I copied something. So for example, just delete this here. I'm just going to copy a bunch of pieces of data. So you see for a second, so you can see kind of like what I mean by that. So I say, for example, I'm gonna copy this text. So I go to copy, and then I'm gonna copy this amount, and I go to copy, and then I go copy this text, and I go to copy, and then I copy this text, and I go to copy. Okay. So if I paste anywhere here, it's just gonna paste the last thing I copied. So that's kind of the boring part. But the Clipboard Tool, when I click up there in the little icon, I click on that, it gives me a list of everything that I have copied. So it's just gonna keeps a history of my clipboard, everything that I ever copied in the past. And so if I click here, then I now copied 500. If I click here, I now copied this line here. So what it really allows me to do is, it allows me to choose from my history of using my clipboard, my copy and paste tool. It allows me to go back to any of them. That's amazing by itself. What's even more amazing is you can merge these things. So I can select multiple of these. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can either copy all of them together. So I click on copy, and then when I come back here and I paste, it pastes a combination of things. That's incredible. I could also merge it. So I can just come in here, select the 4, then click on merge, the little merge button, and you choose the order. So I want it to be, this one first, then this, and then that. And you click on merge, and then now it has a whole new line which combines all those. So if I click on copy there, and then I go and I want to paste in here, click on paste. Now it pastes all that stuff together. Now I didn't give it a delimiter, so everything is sort of scrunched together. But when you do the merging, so let's say I'm going to do a bunch of things again and merge them. Do the merging. I can do a delimiter. I can do a tab. I can do a space. I can do no delimiter. I can do a new line. Those are actually really popular. Click on merge. Then I copy it. Then when I go paste in here, everything is in here already in lines. See, so it's got everything with a line break in it. So that clipboard tool is absolutely amazing. Okay, the next one is called PrintFriendly. Now, PrintFriendly fixes the problem that when you go print something in QuickBooks, and one of the best examples is, let's say, for example, I want to print this page that contains a list of all my reports. Now, if I do Control P or Command P, I get a sort of truncated list. It's not useful. Even if I change to landscape, even if I say all pages, I lose stuff on the screen and it kind of changes things for me. PrintFriendly gives me all sorts of options for printing this page. So when I click on PrintFriendly, it says PrintFriendly page. So I'll choose the first one. So PrintFriendly page basically just translates all the text. So it does removes the images, translates the text, and this could be useful by itself, right? And then there's some slight editing you can do in here. This one's not the most exciting of the versions, but this one's actually pretty cool by itself. A bunch of links that could be useful. So we X out of that. I'm going to try the second option here, which is full page screenshot. Now I like this because it creates a capture of the entire page. It scrolls all the way up and all the way down, and then it gives me a printable version of that page. I can zoom out a little bit. So now when I go print it, it fits into a page, and I could change this to portrait, which would be a little bit better. And it fits into multiple pages, but it captures the entire website up and down. That could be super useful. Also, you can convert it into PDF from here, which I like, because sometimes I have to do too many steps where I take a screenshot, then I turn it into PDF. Now I actually have a PDF, an actual PDF that I can email to someone really, really easy. So I love that. That's great. And on kind of the same token, we're going to do a PrintFriendly and choose the third one, which is current view screenshot, which is basically a clean screenshot of the page that could be useful, in so many different contexts. And from here, I can download the image or do a PDF. And yes, most computers allow you to have built-in snipping tools and screenshot tool, but it's usually several steps to make it into a PDF. So I can make, PDF of screenshots really, really quick. And what's useful for me is I can create a folder with all those PDFs, make it easy to print, that sort of thing. And I could, you can mess with whether it's landscape or portrait, that sort of thing. But I just really love that PrintFriendly option. And the last one is called RightTool. And if you follow my work in YouTube, you probably are familiar with it. But once you install RightTool, you get this right navigation bar that basically allows you to have quick shortcuts to your favorite areas in QuickBooks. There's a free version of RightTool that allows you to take full advantage of the favorites bar. You can search for anything inside QuickBooks. So for example, balance sheet detail. And then you can click on the little star and make it a favorite. So now when I go back into my favorites, the balance sheet detail is now a favorite, and I can click and drag this anywhere and make it number 1. So if I use Control Alt 1, that takes me straight into that custom shortcut. Control-Alt-2 takes me to bank feeds, Control-Alt-3 takes me to bank register, etc., etc. So you can have your custom, already pre-mapped top 10 shortcuts inside QuickBooks. And if you click on the settings button, there's a gazillion over other utilities you can turn off and on. Just on the free version, there's like 40 or 50 different things. And then on the Pro Edition, there's another 50 plus things that includes batching and all sorts of additional tools. If you're a QuickBooks Power user, you gotta try at least a free version of RightTool. And then once you kind of get accustomed to it, you're probably gonna upgrade to the paid version pretty soon. And that's it. Those are the top 10 Chrome extensions that I use day to day that make it that increase my productivity. I guarantee you add one of these, it doesn't matter which one it is, you add one of these, you'll instantly be more productive. And once you add all 10 of them, you're gonna be a machine. You're gonna be faster than AI. So I wonder, what kind of tools do you use? Like, are there any Chrome extensions that you think I should have mentioned? Put it in the description. Were any of these in particular that caught your attention, that impressed you? Or which ones are you gonna try? So go into the comment section and let's start the conversation. I would love to know, what other accountants and power users do for sort of finding that ultimate productivity. These are my top 10. Now it's your turn to share. Thank you. See you in the next one.